Since the very early days of this channel, I've been looking for ways to economize my guitar rig. For reference, the guitar rig I'm talking about has a few necessities that are outside the norm. Number one, it needs to have backing track playback and the ability to route that playback to multiple sources. Number two, it needs to process all of my guitar sounds. Number three, I would like it to be as portable as possible. Minimum trips loading and unloading is the goal. Number four, it needs to be easy to hook up. Nothing is worse than having a rig that's too complicated and eats up all your time just setting it up. I found that the best way to achieve this is to have the least amount of connection points, like having everything ready to go in a rack, for example. Currently, this is my rack of doom. I feel like it's a pretty economic rig, all things considered, but it's just overkill for band practice. It has my 𝗦cie𝗰𝗶𝗹, which is a powerhouse for processing guitar sounds. That handles all the guitar signal processing for both my live guitar as well as the backing track rhythm guitar, which we use because it's easier than finding other reliable members. It's routed to send signals out to both cabinets via a power amp as well as front of house with cabinet simulation, so miking our live cabs is unnecessary. The backing track unit that I use is a 𝗦cimatic Audio 𝗦LP16. Kind of a relic at this point, but we'll get into that more in this video. The nice thing about the LP16 is everything is built into one unit and backing track playback is all that it does. It also has 16 mono outputs, of which I only use 6 or 7, and that's where I'm trying to be really fancy. And then there's the nice to haves, my wireless unit, the in-ear monitor system, the audio interface / digital mixer for the IEM system. These things are great, but not necessary for band practice. So that got me thinking, what do I actually need if I just want to grab a guitar rig and go jam? As cool as the Mega Rack is, it's pretty awkward and heavy to be hauling around by myself. So if I was going to design a minimalist guitar rig that would serve my core purposes, it would need a device that would be the brain to handle the backing track playback as well as processing guitar noises. I'm using an old iPhone for this, but you could use a laptop or tablet if you wanted. Anything that will run backing tracks and load guitar amp sim applications, but also need some sort of audio interface to facilitate all of the ins and outs, since by default, most non-guitar specific devices don't have that functionality. It would need a way to power preferably 2 guitar cabinets, and it would be nice if it was wireless because even though I don't need it, psychologically, I hate being tethered to something with my instrument. So today we're going to pull all of these things together, see if I can assemble a working minimalist guitar rig, test it out at band practice, and most important, relay that experience to you so you can make an informed decision if this is something you want to do for yourself. All right, I'm really excited today because I get to move forward on a project that I've been working on for a little bit here. So what I've been trying to do is make the most economic rig possible. You guys have probably followed me on this journey if you've watched my videos. I have this massive rolling rack, pretty much disassembled now at this point. But you know, it's like a big, kind of heavy rolling rack, and it's built around the 𝗦cie𝗰𝗶𝗹 and the live player, which plays the backing tracks for my band. Backing tracks are an important part of this process, but you know, it's pretty big. I tried to replace that with the 𝗦LIX because the 𝗦LIX has the functionality built in to do backing track playback. If you guys saw that video, it was a little bit complicated. You know, I don't know that it actually solved any problems. And then also the playback system that's built into the 𝗦LIX is really buggy. So it lost all my backing track files. So, you know, that's not ideal. And then I thought, you know, what am I doing? I could probably get away with building something much more simple here. So I decided to see if I could build everything on this tiny little board. And that's what we're gonna try and move forward with today because I have a piece that I need for this. I will explain that as we get into it. Basically, I'm gonna try and build a rig around something that, you know, probably a lot of you have, but it's my old phone. Okay, this is what I was waiting for to move forward with this video. This is from Fender, who is sponsoring this video via 𝗦ci𝗰𝗶𝗹, by the way. So if you're looking for an audio interface, you want something like this, or you wanna follow in my steps and create this rig, assuming that it works, you can use the link down in the description. It greatly helps this channel. It doesn't cost you anything extra. You have my eternal gratitude as well. But anyways, this is it's another box. Ooh, look, 𝗦ci𝗰𝗋. Piece of candy. It's the little things, right? Wow, it's actually kind of a chonky boy. Now, if you've watched this channel, you've probably seen me make videos on the Quantum HD line of audio interfaces. They make really good stuff. They have rebranded, so now it's the Fender Quantum, and this is the HD2. Let me show you why I picked this one. I do have other interfaces that I could have used, but I specifically went with this one for a few reasons. If you remember what I was talking about when I said that I needed backing track playback, that would require more ins and outs. And I need something like 6 outputs to run all the backing tracks plus the guitar that I am playing. And that's why I went with this one, because it has a very small footprint, which it looks like it's gonna fit. I should have measured this first. It looks like it's gonna fit on our board. It looks like it'll be okay. You know, we have 2 inputs on the front, we have 2 outputs on the front of the unit, and then we have, what do we have? 4 outputs here on the back. We have 2 inputs on the rear if we need that as well. I don't think we will. I think it's gonna work. I think it's gonna be great. So theoretically, I have up to 8 mono outputs that I can utilize for this project. Oh, and here's its power supply. I didn't realize it when I chose this interface for this pedal board build thingy, but that actually is really convenient. Very, very small footprint. We can probably get that all mounted. So let me show you my theory here of how this is gonna work. So basically my rig is gonna look something like this. I think this is actually backwards right now, but I have my wireless that I'm running here, and then I'll have my rig, which is gonna be based around my phone, right here on top of the audio interface. And this is gonna be running Studio Tracks 4. You know, basically something like that. I've tested this, and it works right now, you know, through the phone speakers, but I need to see, once we get this hooked up, if it will work as an on-the-go interface and if I can route to all of the different outputs and everything. And then this is a power amp pedal. This is to power the cabinet that I will be using. You know, you could probably replace this with like a Seymour Duncan Power Stage or something like that if you needed something a little bit more powerful, but I think it's gonna be okay. And if I can get all of this to work, this is a super, super powerful compact rig. Now, the one caveat that I have here is I don't know if I'm gonna be able to use something like 𝗏𝗏𝗃, or I'm not sure exactly what I'm gonna be using for the guitar tones. I would like to use my phone as the brain for everything, including processing the guitar that I'm playing. However, if that doesn't work out, I do have a Nano Cortex. You know, it makes the board a little bit bigger, but I have all of the functionality that I need with this, and plus it actually gives me more outputs to use, you know? So, yeah. I think I just gotta start putting it together and messing with it and seeing if I can get it to work. Okay, so I hit a little bit of a roadblock here. This is my old iPhone, means that it uses Thunderbolt, you know, like this. I have this Thunderbolt to USB-C cable, which you think would work. It's not connecting the Fender Quantum HD2 to my phone. I tried it with my new phone, which is a newer iPhone, and it has USB-C and connects fine. So I have two options here. One, I could just use my phone that I have now. That'd be fine. I'd rather not do that though. I'd rather find a cable that works that way. You know, this, I don't have to disassemble it. It's not attached to my phone that I use. It's attached to my old one. You know, I have like a dongle here. Like this would probably work, but I can't find a USB seat. Oh, you know what? Maybe it came with one. Aren't I the smart guy? And it comes with a, no, USB-C to USB-C. I'm gonna go look around. Maybe I have a cable I need for it somewhere else. Let me go look. Okay, so I managed to find a USB-C to USB-A 3.0 cable that I can connect via this dongle. And now I have all of the outputs for the Quantum HD2. So it works. Great. This is cool. I have the Quantum HD8 just plugged into my normal audio interface here so I can, you know, hear what's going on. I haven't routed anything yet. This is gonna be the next step, but I just wanted to test everything just to make sure it works. And you can hear it's working. And the way that I have this set up, you have these buses here. I have multi-route audio on, and then all these different bus setups. So I have bus 1 set up as mono output 1, bus 2 set up as mono output 2, so on and so forth, all the way through 8. So essentially, when I'm here in the mixer, I wish I could see the track names. The track names are kind of hidden on the iPhone. It's like truncated a little bit, but that's okay. Basically, output 1 of the Quantum HD2, so it's the left on the main output. Output 1 is going into the audio interface. So that's the only thing I can hear at the moment. But if I wanted to hear the click, just put it on bus 1. And then for my guitar, I'm just using 𝗏𝗏𝗃. It just seems to be the easiest thing that I'm familiar with. There is a setting in 𝗏𝗏𝗃 that you want to pay attention to, and that is this one here, background audio. You want to make sure this is on because it makes it so you can keep playing even when this is not in the foreground. So if I'm going to have the stage tracks in the foreground, I still want to be able to hear my guitar. And I haven't dialed in any tones or anything, but you know, it works. That's the important thing. So now that I know everything works, I know how everything's routed, now I just need to get everything set up correctly on the board, and I think it's gonna be fine. I'm excited about this, man. I thought this wasn't gonna work out there for a few minutes, so yeah, this is really cool. Let me get everything routed, and then we'll test it out, and then we'll take it to band practice. That's like the real test, you know, to see if this works, because that's why I'm building this little thing, so I don't have to haul that big thing around. You know? Luckily, there's not a whole lot to construct with this. I have my phone. I'm not sure how I'm gonna get this on here right now. I'm probably just going to set it on here for the time being. What I thought would be kind of cool is getting like a magnet stand that actually props up the phone too. Maybe that's like a future thing I could put on here, but that'd be kind of nice because it would also charge the phone. Right now what I'm going to do is I have to move this around. This should be on this side. I put this on the wrong side. So I'll have my wireless unit. I'm going to put that over here. That'll go into the audio interface, which is going to be connected to the phone. Of course, using all of the backing tracks and using 𝗏𝗏𝗋 in the phone for all of my guitar tones. That is going to be running out into, I have 2 power amp pedals here. One of them will be going into the cabinet for the guitar that I'm using. The other one will be going into the other cabinet for the guitar backing track. I've used these both with 4x12s before, and while they do power 4x12s, are they loud enough to keep up with the drummer? I don't know, we're gonna find out. This could be replaced with something like Seymour Duncan Power Stage. They have that new Stereo 200 unit that is about the same size as 2 pedals like this. So, you know, that could be replaced with that possibly. I don't really know. We're just gonna try this for now and see how it works. I don't have an in-ear monitor rig going on with this right now. I am just trying to get the backing track and guitar processing set up. And since I can't power the audio interface and both of these pedals with my pedal power supply, I just decided to grab a normal power strip here. So we'll have to figure out how to get that all mounted and everything. You know, that way I only have one cord coming out of the thing that I have to plug in. I do have a bunch of zip ties. So hopefully we can make this happen. Let's do it. If you have a question about cable management, I'm not your guy. But let me show you how I have this all hooked up. So we have the wireless here, and that is going into input 1 on the audio interface. And then my phone here, which is controlling all the backing tracks and the guitar noises, is hooked up to the Fender Quantum HD2. And then I have the outputs. I wanted to use the front outputs here, but I don't have the right cables for this. This would be a future project. But if this works, the cabling is definitely something I'm gonna have to update in the future. But one of these is going out into one of the pedal power amps. And then I have input 1 going into the other pedal power amp. Like you can see here, I just zip tied the power strip to the back of it, and that way everything's plugged into one source, and then I just have to plug in the power strip. Now I just need to test it out. Hopefully this all works. A few developments here have happened off camera since I built this thing. The power amp pedal I was using for like my own guitar died. So I had to swap it out. Luckily I have 2 of these higher power amps from This Heavy Earth, so it's like, I don't know, it kind of looks better, I guess. I like the resonance and the presence controls in the other power amp, but I'm getting off topic here. I had to replace that power amp pedal with this one. You know, I'm not really sure what happened. I think I have all of the routing down. Now, unfortunately, I wasn't able to figure out through the routing options that the Universal Control app has for the Fender Quantum HD2, how to route the output of the headphone to something other than outputs 1 and 2 or outputs 3 and 4, which would be redundant. So I just skipped using those outputs. So basically we have outputs 1 and 2, which are the main outputs that you would plug monitors into normally. Those are for guitar. So output 1 is my guitar. That's going into the power amp pedal. That is going into the cabinet. Output 2 is going into the other power amp pedal, and that would be going into another cabinet. And then outputs 3 and 4 will be going into the PA. That'll be the bass and the synth. And then 5 and 6, which are the front outputs, which you can see I have this green cord plugged into. We'll get into that in just a second. But outputs 5 and 6 would be the click and the rhythm guitar with an IR on it for the drummer. You know, this is not as robust as the big rack with the IEM and everything. This is just, you know, more for like a fly rig, like an on the go. I just want to grab this stuff and go to practice. And I think I'm accomplishing that goal, but we will test it. Obviously, like I have to test it in a live scenario. What is the point of this video? But we will test it with my band here later on in this video. So one of the very annoying things about using your phone and the app like this, every time I have to open the Stage Tracks app, I have to pull it from the Velcro, put it up like that so it's in landscape mode. You know what? Let's go to the app first here. I switched apps. I switched from the 𝗏𝗏𝗋 app to the this is a 𝗦nci𝗰𝗶 8180, which is like a 5150 amp sim plugin. It's not as robust. I don't have any effects here or anything, which I think is gonna be fine. I can just extend the board and put in the Nano Cortex here if I needed to, if I wanted to use all the effects and stuff. But I'm gonna be fine with just one guitar tone for this practice. Just trying to, you know, get a feel for things. This is the reason that I went with this, because in the audio settings, there's actually more control here. So I can actually route input 1 to output 1. You can't do that in ToneX. It has to route out to stereo 1 and 2, which, you know, takes away one of my outputs, and outputs are very scarce. So I needed that output, okay? So that is the main reason that I did this. So that's what's going on with the guitar tone. This is how I have it set up. You know, there's nothing it's crazy going on here. It's pretty simple. You know, is it my favorite guitar tone in the world? No. Is it gonna work? Probably. Let's go into these stage tracks here, which is a big part of the, see, every time I open this, do this thing here. If we go in here and we go into our settings, down here under the bus setup, I have bus 1 to output 1, bus 2 to output 2, so on and so forth. And then basically what that means is when we load up our song and I go into the mixer, I can route all of these out to the different outputs. Great, that's what I wanted. That was the whole reason of getting this interface and everything. So, you know, I have everything routed here, and basically, if this is working correctly, let's just test it, right? So we know my guitar works. Let's test all the other outputs. So the front outputs should be click and then rhythm guitar. So let's hear that. It's great, I have click. Okay, so that's working. Let's hear if the rhythm guitar is working. Great. So far, so good. Now I need to get a little bit more cable out of here without knocking things over. Okay, now let's go output 3, which should be bass. And then output 4 should be synth. We're gonna have to wait for a part that has synth. We might be waiting a while. How you doing? How's your day going? Pretty good? Yeah. Oh, hey, synth. All right, so everything's routed correctly, everything works. Huge relief for me. The last thing that we need to, okay, shut up for a second. The last thing that we need to test here is the other guitar, and the way that I'm gonna do that is I'm just gonna plug this speaker cable that's going into this cabinet into the other power amp pedal. Hey! All right, everything's working. Holy shit, I can't believe this thing is actually working. I mean, I knew the whole time it was gonna work. I didn't, I'm lying. All right, this took a lot of effort and a lot of patience to get this all hooked up correctly. But hopefully us going through this whole thing together, like you guys are learning something, whether, you know, you wanna do this yourself, is it worth the effort that I'm putting in? I don't know. We'll revisit that thought at the end of the video. But I'm stoked that I actually have something here that works, that I can take to practice. Yeah, so let's do that. This is my ultra minimal rig, and it definitely feels weird because I'm getting ready to leave here and I feel like I'm missing something, but I'm pretty sure I have everything. There's the whole guitar backing track player rig. All of my cables are in this bag down here, and that's it. I can literally load up in one trip to the car. The other thing I was thinking about taking, just in case, is the 𝗦cie𝗰𝗶𝗹. Right here. The reason I was thinking about taking this is it kind of solves 2 problems, just in case. If those power amp pedals are not loud enough to keep up with the drummer, then this definitely is, and I could just plug into this. And then the other thing is I could take the processing off the phone, which I don't think that that's going to be a problem. It's more of a preference than a problem. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to be honest about it. I might take this as a backup, but I'm interested to see how this whole thing works out and what we can learn from this process and what, you know, what I can relay to you about it, you know? I just got back and I have a lot of thoughts about this and a lot of opinions and also advice if this is something that you want to do for yourself. I think that there's a fine line between convenience and enjoyment. Let me explain what I mean by that. This is ultimate convenience. It's very light, it's very easy to use. Everything has been stripped down to the smallest, minimalist component. Now, I think what I've learned by going through this process is think about it like a sliding scale between convenience and enjoyment. And when you have something like this that's very, very convenient, it's not really that fun to play. Let me give you some examples. The power amp pedals, although they worked, they just weren't loud enough to have the headroom to really enjoy my guitar tone and play it loud. I could hear the guitar, but it was definitely hitting the headroom of the pedal and it got, squishy sounding. Now, compare that to something like the Axe-Fx rig, where I have the Seymour Duncan Power Stage 700. Much more headroom, way more enjoyable to play. But is it as enjoyable as a tube amp? No. It's not. So that's what I mean by there's like a sliding scale. Like maybe the Axe-Fx rig leans more tube amp, whereas this leans way the opposite way. I also did bring the 𝗦cie𝗰𝗶 𝗠𝗲, and while I was in there, I was thinking about going and getting that and just detaching my guitar from this rig and playing through the amp and the cabinet on its own. And that would have been a lot better, honestly, because the issue that I had with this mostly just involved around the power output, and even using the app in the phone. There's more latency than there is with something like a plugin, and definitely more latency than if you're using a very good processing engine like, an Axe-Fx or Quad Cortex or whatever. So you're giving up some of that enjoyment for the convenience of it. And the reason I didn't grab the 𝗦cie𝗰𝗶 𝗠𝗲 and just rehooked it, because it was just already working. And I realized, I was like, oh, I'm sacrificing enjoyment for convenience. So that's what I would say about this minimalist rig. Now, the big win here was actually using it to play backing tracks. That was the best part about this whole rig. And I think I'm going to move forward with that in mind. I don't know how I'm gonna redo this because I still do want a convenient rig that I can just grab and go jam with real quick. You know what I mean? I still want that, but it doesn't look like this. I think I have to replace the power amp pedals and I have to do it with something that is at least on, like maybe even that Seymour Duncan Power Stage 700 that I have. I also think that the things that would be a big improvement on this board is taking the processing off the phone and just using the phone for backing tracks for two reasons. Number one, toggling between the two on like a phone, like a thing that's not made specifically for guitar noises and tweaking tones, a little bit clunky. So having it dedicated for just playing backing tracks, I think would be fine. I would like maybe like an iPad mini would be the correct size for this because the app is a little bit truncated on the iPhone. Picture this, maybe this is what we'll do in the next video. An iPad mini here doing the backing track playback, right? And then I replace this with the Power Stage 700 and then maybe put the Quad Cortex or even like the Nano Cortex, something like that. Some floor modeler on here that would be better than using an app, like a dedicated thing that's specifically made for tweaking guitar tones. It would also give me more outputs, free up an output on the audio interface so that I could have more separation of backing tracks if I wanted to. I think that might be the move because while this was cool and it was a great exercise in convenience and I really, really enjoyed it and I learned a lot from it, it taught me a lot about what I want, but more importantly, what I don't want in like a guitar fly minimalist rig. You can't deny it's super convenient for what it does. So while this was a lot of fun and I did learn from this, in the future with this rig, we're going to lean more enjoyment and less convenience because it's like 100% convenience. It's like the equivalent of an ergonomic headless guitar. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here with me. Shout out to Fender and 𝗦ci𝗰𝗶 for sponsoring this video. I couldn't have made this rig had they not, provided me with the audio interface, so I'm very grateful to them. Shout out to you guys, though. Thank you guys so much for being here with me. I really appreciate it. If you want to, you can consider subscribing, or liking or sharing this video. I don't know, the things that YouTube wants you to do. You know what they are. If you really, really like what I do on this channel and you want to hear my thoughts about this thing before, I release this video because I talk to them in my Discord, you can join these people over here on Patreon. There's a list scrolling by. That's what those names are. They're patrons. Like you can be on there if you wanted to. Am I doing anything for you? All right. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.